Now, you had a particular role in Afghanistan. You
Yeah,
said, for example, that you were searching women.
I was searching women.
Right.
So,
and that's a specific role for women, and
correct.
You believe that that's a useful role. What do you think? What do you think has been the consequence in general of introducing women into the armed forces? I mean, there's obviously continual sexual scandals in the armed forces in Canada.
It's always been there. We just haven't reported it.
Okay, meaning it's always been there in what way?
Because there has been women in the army,
right?
Just not in combat arms roles in other countries. For us, there has. So those assaults have been going on for the individual, for example, I won't say his name. He's got a world of hurt anyway, who told me that it would have been easier if I died. He's been charged with 7 sexual assaults, but he made it to major. And he's not being arrested or put in jail, and he's getting to leave with a pension. So what does that say to everyone else below him? Do it. Just make sure they're quiet about it. And that's why it keeps happening. We don't actually take accountability for our actions. We never have. Because if we did, it would stop.
Okay, so I read an article in the Canadian Military Journal. I don't remember the name of the journal, but it was their DEI issue. Right, and their, what would you say, recommendation for decreasing the frequency of the sorts of things that you're talking about was a retooling of the entire culture of the Canadian military. Well, I don't exactly understand what that means, because the culture is going to be a war culture.
Right.
And I presume that there are downsides to that as well as upsides.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to understand the downsides in terms of the relationship between men and women. But if you have a lot of young men together who are single and a lot of young women together who are single, then there's obviously going to be sexual interactions on a nonstop basis. And I have no idea how that can be reasonably regulated. I suspect that the DEI approach is not going to work very effectively.
No.
Sleep is the foundation for our mental and physical health. In other words, you've got to have a consistent nighttime routine to function at your best. But if you're struggling with sleep, then you've got to check out Beam. Beam isn't your run-of-the-mill sleep aid. It's a concoction carefully crafted to help you rest without the grogginess that often accompanies other sleep remedies. A bunch of us here at the Daily Wire count on Beam's Dream Powder to knock us out and sleep better through the night so we can show up ready for work the next day. Just mix Beam Dream into hot water or milk, stir or froth, and then enjoy before bedtime. Then wake up feeling refreshed without the next day grogginess caused by other sleep products. Dream contains a powerful all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. And with it now being available in delicious flavors like cinnamon cocoa, chocolate peanut butter, and mint chip, better sleep has never tasted better. And today, listeners of this show can get a special discount on Beam's Dream Powder. Get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Peterson and use code Peterson at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Peterson and use code Peterson for up to 40% off.
Yeah, so DEI, that's a trip. Canada's lost its mind. Okay, so I spoke to Buck Angel recently, and I was asking him his opinion on how the Canadian military has just put tampons in the men's bathrooms.
Yeah. And then made it a particularly punishable offense for the young men to take the tampon dispensers out of the bathrooms, which is obviously exactly what they should do.
They should never have been in there in the first place.
Well, yes, that's for sure.
Yeah. So bad leadership, right?
You might say that already.
We can go with bad leadership. That rolls downhill. We have a saying in the military, shit rolls downhill. Mm-hmm. And so that's obvious. So DEI is rolling downhill. And it's rolling down to a already crippling military. Our military complex in Canada is shrinking astronomically. Mm. And not only that, it's shrinking because veterans aren't being looked after. People at Gagetown are having to rely on food banks to eat because they're not being paid enough. No weapon systems are coming in. People are having to pay for their own flights to come back from, where did they go? Was it Lithuania they were over there? Excuse me. They were playing war games, i.e. they were just trying to be a show of force for Putin. Anyway, so, and then we bring in DEI. So here's what's happened since I got out. This was a trip. I got to go back in 2021 22, to New Brunswick to go shoot my last round as a gunner. I didn't know this was a thing, but when you're like super old or something really bad happens, they bring you back to shoot your last round.
Are you super old or something bad happened?
I'm going to be 35 this year, Jordan. So we're going to go with something bad happened and they really messed up and they know it. And there was a book written about it. They didn't like it. So what happened was I went and I shot my last round, and it was this, all the big wigs came out and all of this. And it was amazing because there was actually a female there that was a colonel that I actually respected. And so it was a really big honor to get to shoot with her. And so I'm there, but what I saw was really troubling to me. Disheveled beards, long nails, piercings, jewelry, weird colored hair and beards. We had lost the standard. We stopped doing the standards of what it meant to be in the service. Men have to be clean shaven. Women have to have short nails. You have to have one earring. You can only wear a wedding band. Like, you don't do these things. Their hair was a mess. They just looked a mess. And I said, what am I looking at here? So this is the new standard. So if you start to lower the standards, people who have served, like my friend Dallas Alexander, who got slapped by the government for going on Sean Ryan, people like that leave.
Right.
The experienced people who you need to teach these DEI
lower the
people.
standards, the best people leave.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
So this is what's happening. So now you've got DEI. So what happens with DEI? Well, basics that we know. Men now are in women's spaces, vulnerable spaces. Men now are allowed around women in environments that they just shouldn't be in service in general, meaning we normally get our own shower time, right? And where we get if we have enough women, we get our own tent. If you didn't, you're with the guys and you're used to it, it's fine. And so what was happening is people say that it's an assault issue. It's a control issue. It's a leadership who has been told time and time and time again, you can get away with it. It doesn't matter. You're going to get away with it. If you're high enough rank, you got the right people around you, you're going to get away with that. So what does that say to women? It says, well, I don't really want to be in the service. So now you're losing women, or you're having women transition to men. So they're accepted in men's spaces and they're accepted as a male. So maybe they won't get raped because you had a Navy ship just have to come back recently in the United States because there was like 30 assaults in 30 days and women were just pimping themselves out early. So they didn't get raped. They said, well, I'll just do it now because then that way I won't get assaulted. So it won't be like traumatic. It'll be my choice. And so people are saying, well, why are we allowing women? How about you just stop raping people, guys? Where's the accountability on the man? Where's the accountability on the staff? Where's the accountability on the leadership to go, hey, if I catch you doing an assault, this is what's happening to you. You're out. You're gone. Your job is over. And you're going to have a dishonorable discharge for sexually assaulting someone. Then you're going to get a criminal charge. Why aren't we doing that?
Well, why do you think?
Because we already have no one. And also, there's a lot of people that are old school that are still in, that are going to cover. Because, what if a guy's like 1 year away from his pension, Kelsi? Let's just let this one slide. You don't want his family to not have any money, right? You don't want his family to lose his pension. You don't want them to have that name in the school, do you? Like, it's a hypocrisy. There is, the service is filled with some of the best people that we have to offer. And then it's filled also with some of the worst we have to offer because it attracts A-type personality. There's bad eggs and everything. With the police, yeah, there's some bad eggs, but they're not all bad. And that's kind of what's happening with the service. Bad eggs, not all bad, removing funds. What happens? Shittier people. So it's happening in the police, now it's happening in the service, and we already have one of the smallest armies. So we're being bought and paid for by the CCP, left, right, and center, provable by CSIS on paper. And then now we have weak borders, no military, no weapons, running out of artillery rounds and giving how many billions of dollars to somewhere else? Why would you want to join the service? You can be patriotic. And I applaud that. I have people come to me all the time, my daughter's going to join. Can you talk to her? So I'm not going to talk anybody out of anything. It's their path. If they believe they need to go do it, they will go do it. But at the same time, I'm sorry. This is not the country I fought for.